Michael, before we look ahead to our next game, and probably have to look back to Tuesday night, can I have your thoughts on the defeat at Weston-super-Mare, please?
It's frustrating, I think, is the comment that I got in my head. Along with the supporters, of course, I understand that frustration because we didn't start well. I was disappointed with our start. They obviously got their goal. We came back into it with the equaliser, and at that point we looked strong on and off the pitch. It looked like we were going to get something out of that, and then all of a sudden, they get an opportunity, which was a disappointing penalty. There was another dubious one. We believe it hit his chest and then went onto his arm, and I think in the rules of the game that's not a penalty. But anyway, they scored the penalty and tried to get back in it, and then the fellas hit a shot from 30 yards and that screamed in the back of the net, and then we didn't have enough time really to get the game back. We got a goal back, good cross from Stobbsy, but unfortunately it also meant that Jarvis crashed into the boards. Whatever happened there, I haven't really looked at that, and we're waiting to see the scan results to see what the problem is. So that's a disappointing sort of day all round, really, and a frustrating one for everybody. But we carry on. We got games coming up now still that we can quickly, and we've got some big games coming up, and we all got to be ready for it. Of course, at half time I spoke to the lads because we just didn't get going for some reason. You don't coach a team not to get going. Sometimes it's the opposition that have done well against you, but frustrating was probably the words. And as I say, I was frustrated as everybody else in our team that we know has got a game in them, and we know we got a good team when they come out of their shell, which they seem to be in for a little while during that game.
Like you say, the players didn't play as well as they have done in recent weeks. There were a number of things that obviously went against the club on the night. Dean Moxey and Aaron Jarvis, obviously two big players for the side, leaving the field early through injury. Obviously up front with Aaron Jarvis, it's not an area of the field that we're blessed with players. Obviously if he is injured and unable to take part on Saturday, what will be the plan of action then?
Well, the plan of action is like it always has been. It's no secret that one of the big questions that's always asked is, we need another, or a statement that is asked is, we need another striker, and we know that. But you've got to find that right player at the right time for the right reasons, because you don't want to make a mistake with a striker if you bring somebody in that you're doing out of necessity rather than out of quality. Now to get a replacement, if you like, if that's needed for a little while for Jarvis, that's not always easy, because he's a good player, Jarvis, and it's difficult to find somebody with that ilk, if you like, that quality. So, but we keep looking, and one day when I write this book, we'll be able to tell you how many strikers we've had on the go to come to us. But things have happened. Either the player wanted to come and the club wouldn't let him go, or the club wants him to go but the player doesn't want to come, for whatever reasons. So it is the vein of our lives, if you like, in as much as that we try very hard, and there's a lot of these players that we try to get during the close season and early part of the season that were 50-50 whether they came and decided to stay, and there's 3 or 4 of them that are now playing regular in their first teams. So that's the sort of player that we want to try and nick, if you like, bring in so that we enhance the group with qualities, and that's what we need to do. So it's easy to go out and get somebody that is playing at a lower level and bring them in because they want to play at a higher level and earn more money. But we've got to make sure the signings that we make are right. Now, I say that because we're still, we're sixth in the league now. We've had some good games. We've got a good group of lads, even though every now and again they have a poor game, which is frustrating is the word. But some of them are still young and still finding their feet a little bit. We have had a good run previously, and we believe that we can do that again. So it's but as and when you get knocks, I think Mox is going to be okay. That was a cut on his nose. It was quite a heavy cut as well, but it was on his nose. Whereas Lapsley's cut was on his knee. So that was an innocuous situation in training, which was a nightmare for us, because it was due to be like almost a lazy day to because we've been playing a lot of games. But anyway, so we got to deal with that, and we're dealing with it. And if we had a crystal ball and we knew we were going to get promoted, we wouldn't be so frustrated. But at the moment, of course, we haven't got that crystal ball, so we just got to keep going. The lads have got to believe in themselves, and like we believe in them, and put in some performances that keep us up in that sort of top group of teams.
Like you said, Gaff, there is still reasons to be positive, and one of those is the tremendous travelling support that your team continues to have, well, home and away. But they were there in their numbers again on Tuesday night, and everybody at the club is doing everything they can to reward them with success, aren't they? Yeah,
of course, but you don't get success without the odd hiccup, the odd trip, if you like, trip up. And they really got going when we got the equaliser, and that picked the lads up, and only the balloon to be burst when they got the penalty. But for those sort of numbers to travel is fantastic for our football club. The lads need them. It does create a bit of an atmosphere for us. And then, so, what you'd hope is that they keep coming, they keep supporting. There are frustrations from them and from us. We're the same. I'd be feeling exactly the same if I was a supporter on that day. But it just gives you that energy to get it right for those people that make the effort to come. And we were pleased that was a great following.
Now, the National League South fixture list can be unforgiving, but on the plus side, it means there are only a couple of days now, of course, from the next game, and obviously the next game is a chance to put the record straight. That's going to be at Hampton and Richmond, who are a different prospect than they were a few weeks ago. They're in a good run of form at the moment, aren't they?
Good run of form. It was a super result to beat Worthing 4-1. So we've had a good look at that. Myself and Bouncy and Louis, we sort of assessed the oppositions. In this league, there's a lot of inconsistencies. So 1 week, exactly like us, 1 week a team will look good, and the next week they'll get a result and you go, how's that happened? Against a team that didn't look good previously, sort of thing. So there's that inconsistency that teams get in periods like we did, Yeovil did, Worthing started off well. There's always those teams win, lose, and it's the league's still quite tight, and there's plenty of time to go to get another run in. You've got to have a good run in at the start, good run in the middle, and a good run in the end. And then in between, you might be unlucky on occasions, but they've improved definitely, and they're on their decent run at the moment.
Still feels early days in the season, but of course we have passed a quarter of the way mark now. Apart from obviously Yeovil, who've started well and are at the top of the table, does it surprise you at all that how closely fought the rest of the division is from second? There's not many points separating from anybody, and it's largely much of a muchness. And like you say, if you can put a run together, world's your oyster.
Well, at the moment, there's a lot of teams, including Yeovil, that have had a lot of home games. Our record is quite decent at home. We've certainly got more than 2 points on average per game at home, and as far as that's concerned, and so it sort of starts panning out around now. We've done the 10 games one. Now you've got to look to Christmas time, because by Christmas you've nearly played half the games. And that's another time when you look at it and you go, you need to be there. You need to be up there in with a shout, because a lot of teams we've still got to play twice, and so anyone who's above us that you might have to play twice, you've got every opportunity of a couple of wins and a couple of losses for them. So we look forward to seeing where we are around about Christmas time, but there's some big games between now and then.
Just for a moment, looking away from the first team, a big game for the club tonight in the FA Youth Cup, in their final qualifying round game against Reading City. It was a game that was due to take place at home. Unfortunately, it's had to be switched. I know that you've watched both of the previous encounters, and there's some good players in that team, and there's reasons to be excited about the future.
Yeah, they did very well. Yeah, me and Downsy went to both their games, and at some point we'll be inviting them in to have a look. They got quite a big fixture list with the Pro Direct games and the youth team games, and then we've had a few, one or two friendlies. We had the Devon Cup game, so we've seen quite a lot of them, and there's a bit of quality in there, and they're at that age where they can develop very quick, go from boys into men, and at that point, you'd be interested to see which ones you'd be taking on for the next campaign.